Hi, my name is Scott Laskowski with OrganiLock, and today we're going to do a walkthrough of a 2019 BB-500. There have been several revisions we've made over the years, and we think we have the best of everything all in one. So let's do a quick walkthrough. All right, so let's start here with the control box. We've moved everything into a common box on the outside of the machine. That keeps everything a little bit cooler. You can see it's simple on-off to turn the machine off. You've got the touchscreen controls that has the software you can talk to the machine from a computer or the internet. Of course, we've got a lot of software that we've had a chance to develop over the years that turn things into automatic mode. We have sensors on there that if your water tank gets low, it'll come up and tell you that you need to fill up, which tank it needs to be, whether there's a fault on a breaker or if you've got a horseshoe stuck in your sawdust, whatever. This thing will come up and shut itself down appropriately and warn you. So it's really nice to know that it takes care of itself. You're gonna hear me talk a lot about BioChar in my videos because there's a lot going on in the world for sequestering carbon and coming up with soil amendments that help us grow plants and feed more people. And we have one of the best BioChar makers out there. It's continuous, it makes high quality, it's automatic. This one will produce about 10 gallons of char per hour. BioChar starts out as a wood chip. There's fuel we specifically size and dry to be able to make a partially burned version of this. And what we've done is burn off all the volatiles, gotten all the useful heat off of it, but we've left the carbon shell. This is just carbon. It's a high-end charcoal without volatiles in it. And then this is used for soil amendment to make it hold water better and keep it softer, and microbes like to live in it. There's a lot of good reasons to put this in soil. And again, because we're so good at it, we've actually built it in as one of the primary options, which allows us to burn a lot of different kinds of fuels, turning biomass into sequestered carbon that can go back into soil. Question I get asked a lot: how much time do you spend a week working on the machine? Through this last winter, I would have to say we've spent maybe 15-20 minutes a week just cleaning turbulators, ash, a few things like that. But it's a very low maintenance machine if you have good fuel. Down here you can see some ports. The round ones there are for taking ash out from underneath the heat exchanger. We have a small auger that you put in there and pull it out. There's a sweep to make sure the ash gets pulled into the two places. There's a rectangular panel right there. That's to access the actual bottom of the heat exchanger should you need to, which is extremely rare. Here at my feet, there's a long rectangular panel that you remove, and that's where you access the chain that does the driving of the stirrer that's in here. We'll pull that off. We'll take a look inside, and you can see the stirring arms that we use to turn the fuel around inside. And you'll see that the arms themselves are sacrificial. They don't last forever in that really hot environment. So you literally lift them off and put a new one on. And then inside there is where there's the pit where the ash falls out and goes into the biochar system. So when you're running biochar, actually very small amount of maintenance because most of your burnt material never makes it to ash. It actually turns into char and you take it out here as a valuable product. So you have very little maintenance to do to the machine inside the firebox. All right, one of the biggest changes we've made in the 2019 model is we've moved the controls from in here out to the box on the side that we showed you. So really there's just three things left in here. This is where you measure the temperature up inside of the end of that well of the firebox. We control by that temperature. So this is a removable thermocouple. And this piece here slides out and we can actually go in and clean out the crossover from there. Here you have your 400,000 BTU igniter that can also double as your backup heat. And then down here at the bottom, there's a gear motor that actually does the stirring of the firebox. And from a maintenance standpoint, we've made significant improvements on the types of motors and gearboxes that we have. These are all Rogue Gear products in this case, enclosed, sealed, totally enclosed fan cool motors. So next to no maintenance long term, if you take care of it. They're designed to be outside, and we're having great results with these. So this type of motor gearbox combination is all the way around the machine. We have multiple water tanks. This one is your thermal expansion tank. It's what is tied to the heat exchanger inside, flows back up in here, so as the water gets hot, this level comes up, cools down, it comes back down. There's a safety switch in here We have another tank right here. This one is for fire suppression. Holds about 3 gallons of water. Again, a safety switch. It will, through this hose, come over to a fuse way over here. So if this little mechanical fuse, which has solder in it, gets to 135 degrees, because you might have something that wants to crawl back up here, or you not run the machine properly, this will melt and drop 3 gallons of fire suppression fluid in that auger. Should something try to work all the way down there and try to get into your tank, there's another mechanical fuse here at 135 degrees again. It will melt, and there comes another 3 gallons of water. And in any case, if you lose water, it would automatically shut the rest of the machine down and quit functioning altogether, assuming you've had that kind of failure. And additionally, there's one more, not tank related, but it's safety, so we'll go ahead and talk about it. Back here, there's a snap disc, and if that reaches 190 degrees, it will also shut the machine down. Very safe machine, multiple levels of shutdown in terms of water, fire suppression, heat up tubes, things like that. So it's a very reliable track record. This is a peristaltic pump that we use to pump water, and that's what we quench the BioChar with. So if you're using that option, this is the pump to quench. Down here is the motor that is pushing the ash out of the bottom of the firebox, whether it's ash or BioChar. It gets pushed from this side. Down here we have 3 clean out ports. These 2 are underneath the heat exchanger box. The one on the far right is underneath the Cyclone, where we catch the last of the fines out of the emissions. Here we measure temperature of the hot water. Probe goes on inside there. Water goes this way. Is not allowed to come back into the system till this protection valve lets the water up to 135. That way we protect the machine from condensing inside. And then down here we have the fill/drain, where you would pump in your glycols in your water. We build in the isolation valves. For maintenance purposes, we have a flex fitting. We have flanges on either side of the pump, so if there is ever an issue with the pump, you can just isolate it out so you don't lose a lot of water. So it's a nice system designed with maintenance in mind. All right, here we are on the final side of the machine, where we have a couple of components to talk about. We have the induced draft fan. What that means is it's pulling the gases through the machine, which makes it very safe to make sure everything's always being drawn in. We have a thermocouple up inside here where we measure the temperature of the flue gas. If it gets too hot, the computer lets you know. It actually turns the fuel off until it turns back down a few degrees. It'll let it cycle and let you keep running, but every time it hits that max temperature, you get the message. It's telling you clean your machine. Inside here is a Cyclone. It collects the last of the fines that we're capable of collecting and drops it down into a little pit where we empty it from the side. And then it comes out an 8-inch flue pipe up here that can be then vented out according to your local code. All right, here we are on the top of the machine now. We've got a cover plate where the turbulator access to the clean out rods are. Here we have a little vent, take some of the hot gases out. And then under here, you'll see a bunch of turbulator rods where you can twist and turn to actually clean out the insides of your tubes. That'll push ash to the floor, and that's where we clean them out, as we've discussed before. All right, here I'm standing in front of our standard 6-yard fuel bin. This is 9-foot diameter grain bin rings. Inside here we have spring arms that will agitate the material and feed it into the horizontal auger. Again, all computer controlled automatically, which is nice. We do have options. We can put a 2-yard bin here that's more of a day bin. So if you have a large bin somewhere else, you can feed the day bin, and we can use that to put smaller volumes through at a time. And then we have up to 4 of these that you can tie into a long chain of up to, if you went 2 rings high, it would be about 50 yards of material if you want to be able to walk away for long periods. So we have a lot of fuel options. We're very good at feeding biomass. We've spent a lot of years debugging those things. We do things that the Europeans say you can't do in terms of being able to mix dust and chips and moisture contents and manures, and all the things we do very well. So very reliable industrial fuel bin systems. We've been talking about the 2019 revision of the BB-500. The 300 is very similar. Very flexible machine. Lots of different kinds of fuel. We'll wrap it up with that. We'll see you next time.